Usually, people have issues with their parents, and it's their grandparents that give all of the love that keeps them going. Baby, not in my story. My grandmother is the villain, okay? The go to church every Sunday, but Monday to Saturday, she's the wicked villain. Yeah, that's my story.
There's no question.
That, Gloria.
Good
to see you too, Miss Williams.
Let's talk about it. So where does my story begin? Honestly, I can't remember, but I knew as early as elementary school that my grandmother was different. Unfortunately, my paternal grandmother passed when I was a child, and my grandmother that is related by marriage, not by blood, lived in another state. So this grandmother is the grandmother I dealt with on a consistent basis. I knew there was something very mean and dark about her. Sometimes just even the way that she looked at me, I was like, what am I doing wrong? But I was told, she's your grandmother, so show her respect no matter what she does. I think that is the worst rule you can tell any child, because you don't know what is being done to them to break them spiritually. If anything, you should tell them respect your elders, but if there is any moment where you feel uncomfortable, hurt, or any bad feelings come to you, you tell your parents. But here's my dilemma. My mother and grandmother don't have the best relationship due to my own mother's upbringing or lack thereof. I personally think my mother forced me on my grandmother, thinking that hopefully that will help their relationship, because of course, look, I'm the grandbaby. You treated me like crap growing up, but this is your grandchild, so you should hopefully love her, right? Wrong, baby, wrong. Very wrong. You know I'm gonna keep this entertaining, you guys, but I can laugh through this at this point because I'm healed, so stay with your girl. She would randomly belittle me or pick on me for anything, telling me my hair is thinning out. You don't know what you're doing. Anything to try to diminish me as a person on a physical level or a spiritual level. She would talk about me to my cousins, aunts, and uncles, and yet I was still told, you can't say anything. You gotta have respect and love her. So what did I do? I did everything I could to make her like me.
I got you some chili, Grandma.
You in that mother chili, sticking up your balls.
And baby, it never worked. Now, here's the thing. She had the same type of energy towards others in my family. It wasn't as bad, but I definitely saw her talk about other family members. My situation, though, with her was much more hostile and wicked, and she loved to try to get her demon bots, that I would call them, known as my aunts or my cousins, to try to attack me as well. When I tell you I had so much confusion growing up around this woman who spoke tongues and went to church every Sunday but would be so hypocritical, mean, and evil the rest of the week, and you're telling me I'm supposed to respect her. By the time I was a teenager, I was still going to church and I was involved in the youth ministry, but at that point, I said, if she is an example of Christianity, I am questioning all of this. But thank God for keeping me and allowing me to have discernment, because what I started to notice was my grandmother embraced those that she could control and manipulate. If she was allowed to control a family member's household, oh, she was there. If they always needed her or called her because yet again they were in another crisis that was probably their fault, oh, she had no problems. She would show up to every court hearing, for every jail release for my cousins. She went to every graduation for my cousins who barely, and I mean barely, graduated from high school. Now, don't get me wrong, she came to my events, but what would be the point if you're still gonna be mean and talk about me and go back to your normal self hours later? I realized she resented people who didn't depend on her. I was blessed that I have a 2-parent household, so I didn't have to call her for anything. And even if I wanted to, you are mean as hell. Why would I reach out to you? I never felt comfortable reaching out to her or even talking to her. When I talked to her, it was because I was thinking maybe, just maybe, having a conversation with her, she'll start to like me. Oh, and sidebar, I know she would do this stuff because when relatives were mad at her, of course they would tell me the things that were said. But guess what? I side-eye them too. I have seen our family give this lady the world and try to give her everything on the list that she wanted for Christmas, her birthday, just to make a comment that she didn't get every item on her list. Now, let me tell you something. If I did something like that, I would be everything but a child of God. Probably would have had a belt handed to me saying that I was ungrateful. Then you get to the point where you try to talk to other family members about how you're feeling. I would talk to my cousins or aunts about this, but while some of them were honest and said they had similar experiences, a lot of them were too busy trying to go back to her to tell her what I said or even add extras to it. I believe it was my senior year in high school and I had a birthday celebration and she didn't show up. And while I wasn't shocked, I was still hurt because I said, well, how much do I have to do and this woman still rejects me? And my mother told me, you should tell her how you feel. Now, why my mama told me that, I don't know, because she knows how evil this woman can be. But I decided to try to call her. And I spoke to her, and you would think I was some crackhead on the street. She was so evil. And by the end of the conversation, she said, well, if you feel this way about me, don't come around at all. Okay, one thing about me, you don't want to come at me that way because I will fulfill your wish and you will never see me again. Especially by my young adult years and I went off to college, I definitely saw the difference between my grandmother and other grandmothers and how they treated their grandchildren. My friends, when I would see them interact with their grandmother, they were front line to protect their grandkids with love and admiration that I had never seen before. Because meanwhile, I don't remember a genuine hug or kiss that I ever received from her. But of course, the holidays and I'm away from home and people claim they want to see me, for Christmas or Thanksgiving. My parents still forcing me, saying, come on, let's go to the family house. My grandmother created some drama during Christmas that was unthinkable. And still to this day, it's very traumatic for me. So I tried to avoid them as much as possible. But the problem was I wasn't healed. So throughout my life, before the healing began, I had people in my life that were just like her. Friends, so-called friends, relationships that were draining, passive aggressive, making mean comments but having a smile on their face, and if you question what they said, oh, I was just joking, you're too sensitive, I was just asking, I was just curious. And I will accept that nonsense because I perceived it to be normal for so long. I accepted it from others for years also because as a child I was told that this is normal, just deal with it. Finally, she tried to start some drama with me on social media. Yes, a senior citizen starting drama on social media. Why? Oh, because a family member asked a question for us to have a healthy dialogue or a healthy debate about the topic. And my answer differed from hers. And she saw that as a threat. And baby, she got her demon bots to attack me on social media. But at that point, I had enough. And I let it all out. I mean, all out. And what did she do? She was just reading it and watching it. She didn't put a stop to it. Literally, it was chaos on social media. Mind you, a couple of family members came to my defense and said, Nicole didn't even do anything wrong. But again, if grandmama is unhappy, you have those who are trying to do anything they can to get her acceptance until one of the demon bots, one of my aunts, years later, finally got the short end of the stick and felt that evil rage firsthand. Next thing I know, she trying to apologize. I've forgiven you, but girl, bye. But it was at that moment that I just said, this is not love and this can't be God. And I finally went through my healing process, which took years. And sometimes it was very misguided, but I had to forgive my grandmother. I had to forgive my aunts. I had to forgive my cousins. Hell, I even had to forgive my parents for forcing me to be around her. But once I really began my journey and was talking to God, not going to church, doing the whole church thing, but talking to God, going to therapy, seeing the signs of those type of people, that type of spirit, that nasty spirit on people, and instead of entertaining it still, just removing them from my life, that is when I started to have real peace. Now, don't get me wrong, the devil still tries me. But now I have the tools to fight back. Where's my grandmother today? She's actually still alive. And I don't talk to her. She's well in her 80s. And I don't even talk to most of my aunts or my cousins. I would say I talk to about 1% of them, and it's definitely not on a consistent basis, and that's better for me, to be quite honest. And I come from a huge family, so I would say 1% is still pretty good. While I have forgiven my grandmother, I don't know if I've ever loved my grandmother because I never had love from her to hold on to. I think as a child, you learn love from what you receive. And if you never receive love from that person, can you honestly say that you love them? I don't know. But my guess is my grandmother still hates me. But honestly, I'm free from that because I love myself. But I also know she hates herself. So for someone to hate themselves, it's going to be very hard for them to love others. From my understanding, she came from a very tormented past that she does not like to talk about. And she always feels threatened if she thinks someone is going to talk about her past. So she drowns herself in pain, bitterness, and anger. And if you don't represent that or embrace that, you're always going to be a problem. Which tells me she isn't healed and she truly hasn't had deliverance from her past. Yet she goes to church every Sunday, which is why I'm very hesitant on when people tell me they go to church all the time. That means nothing to me at this point. Do you have a relationship with God? Have you truly allowed God to deliver you from all of your pain and your past? I have forgiven her, and I truly pray that she finds healing. I really do. Because you definitely do not want to walk this earth your whole entire life being the way that she's been. However, I will no longer sacrifice my happiness and peace because you haven't found yours. This is my testimony, and I have so many others to share. Let me know how you guys like this video. Let me know if you actually have any similar experiences with your family or even friends. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles!